Hello, good evening. How may we be of service?
Good evening. Thank you for coming. You can explain to me about this thing called karma. So, karma is past life out of alignments that need to be corrected. Is that correct?
Out of alignment with whom?
God or just.
And who is God?
We all are.
And so if you're out of alignment
With yourself.
with yourself.
Okay. All right.
So karma are places in the soul or experiences of the soul that have not been relinquished to God
Okay.
in the higher self.
From past life experiences.
Yes, possibly, of course. Mm-hmm.
But there is no such thing as time. So how can there be a past life?
Well, we can speak to this outside the constraint of time. So you need not think of karma as being constricted to a past life. It is simply an area of your soul that is not surrendered.
Okay.
So when there are experiences of the soul to which the soul has been unable to relinquish, we will say control, then the cycles continue until the soul is in alignment with itself, until it is experiencing its wholeness.
Okay, I understand that. So basically what we're saying is a person is being punished because their soul has blockages.
Karma has nothing to do with punishment.
Well, okay, maybe. It may, yeah.
Karma is the choice of the soul.
The choice.
Karma is the effect of the cause that originated within the soul. And so the soul affects, creates a cause followed by an effect. And so karma persists because there are parts of the soul that are unsurrendered. And when you have surrendered all things and exhausted all of your wanting and all of your not wanting, all your wanting and not wanting, when you have exhausted them completely and you've had enough of them, then your karma will be over.
But once again, it makes it sound like I have to go through this karma because of something that's going on with my soul.
You don't have to go through anything.
Well, okay.
Your soul is making the decisions.
Okay. So the soul is in control of me. My soul is in control of me.
Well, that is the choice. You see, your soul is resident, and in your case, it is awake. And so your soul will abdicate to your ego, or your ego will abdicate to your soul. But you cannot be ruled by two masters.
All right, I guess I always just thought that the soul was perfect.
It is.
Well, yeah, in another way.
But is it operative? And to what degree?
Okay. Well, then let me rephrase that. Then I guess I thought the soul was always in line with God's will.
The soul is God. So whatever the soul wants is the will of God.
So if the soul wants to hold on to something, that's the will of God.
That is correct.
So then there is no free will.
Well, we don't know what you're speaking of.
Well,
the soul, you are God.
Yes.
Your soul is God. Your soul is in absolute authority and sovereignty over your being. So this sounds like free will to us.
Okay. So my soul has free will, but I don't necessarily have free will.
Well, are you your soul?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Who is this I that you speak of?
Good question. That's what I'd like to know.
Who are you? Are you your soul, or are you someone else? You're speaking as if you're separate from your soul. And why would you speak in such a manner that you're separate from your soul?
I don't know, because
the only part of your being that is separate from your soul is your mind.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Are you speaking from your mind?
Probably. How about, okay, so
why don't you tell us the truth of what it is that is bothering you? Why are you asking all of these questions?
I was just thinking about karma, and I was just thinking about, it just happened, it just popped into my mind that there is no such thing as time, but we always say past karma comes from past lives. So it just came to me that, okay.
Well, of course there is such a thing as time, and you are existing within it. Now the soul can choose to take on the constraints of time or to be free of it. That is the choice of the soul.
Wait a minute, I thought there was no such thing as time. I thought we were in the now.
And who told you that there is no such thing as time?
Oh, lots of people.
Time is simply a descriptor.
Bashar. We don't have time. We have parallel universes. We're going from one parallel universe to another, which gives us the illusion of time.
Yes, we understand that. As we said, time is simply a descriptor. But you are experiencing yourself as being within time. Or you may experience yourself as being out of time. That is your choice. That is the choice of the soul.
Oh. And I guess
it is a matter of your perception.
Yeah. And I always kind of got the idea that the soul was projecting not only just my soul, wasn't just projecting this movie of me, but also had other individuals that it was projecting. A soul could have more than one human being.
So are you asking if your soul can be split into more than one person?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't know about split. I just envision this thing being the soul, and from that soul, all these connections to these individuals, and the individual is experiencing things and sending the experiences back to the soul, so the soul can experience what sex is like, so the soul can experience what failure is like, so the soul can experience what success is like, and then the soul, if it has a specific thing that it wants to experience, can project the movie for one of its projections. My soul could put me in a certain circumstance for me to go through something, so the soul could experience that through me.
Well, we won't comment on that. It sounds very complicated, but we'll ask you again, why is it that you're asking these questions?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, it came to me that there's no such thing as time, but karma was supposedly what you did in past lives, and my understanding was there is no such thing as time, so those two things just can't be possible.
Well, when you speak of past lives, you're speaking within the construct or understanding of the concept of time, which is fine. We can work with that. So, but we'll explain again that karma is the unresolved issues of the soul. That is all.
Okay. Well, that's different. That I can understand. And so, what can I do to get my soul to what's the right word? Stop doing that.
Resolve the karma.
Me personally, for my soul.
Yes. How do you resolve the karma? You resolve it by forgiving.
Oh. So I'm holding things against my soul.
Yes.
Really?
And against other souls.
Yeah. Huh. I have no clue of that. How do I get to that?
You can, as your wife says quite often, make an educated guess. What is it that you hold against yourself?
Against myself.
And what do you hold against others? The simple way to find the answer for this inquiry is to look for areas of resistance in your current circumstance. And this we share frequently through your wife. There's really no need to deliberate about your past life. The way you know if you have karma, unresolved karma, is by your current experience. If you have current experiences that are repetitive in nature, that are uncomfortable, unwanted, and repetitive in nature, seemingly stubborn to overcome, these are clear indicators of unresolved karma.
Yes.
And so simply look at your current experience. This is why we ask you, why do you want to know the answers to these questions? Because your questions are all about things out there, which is fine. We don't mind answering these questions, but focusing on all that is out there takes you away from what is inside of you, which is where all the work is done, as you know. So what is in your current experience that is uncomfortable, that is a repeated pattern for you, that is unwanted? This is where the karma, all karma can be resolved, is in the current experience.
Okay, yeah, I see.
So what happens in the past presents itself over and over until it is resolved. So the easiest way, we are just saying this a slightly different way for your understanding, the easiest way to resolve your past life karma is through the current circumstance presenting itself. And if you overcome in the current circumstance, then the past life karma is resolved.
Okay, and I see that, and I'm working on one thing. I only see one thing right now that I'm working on, that I'm making some progress on. Okay, yeah, I got that. So, what is the difference between that and an unconscious belief that creates out of alignments?
Well, we would say that when the original hurt or wounding occurs, it is typical, we will say, for the person to adopt lies as subconscious beliefs as a result of the hurt or the wound. And these subconscious beliefs or lies are like cement or glue for the karma to stick. It makes it all the more difficult for it to be removed. This is why forgiveness is of the utmost importance. For you see, if in the moment that you are hurt, wounded, offended, dishonored, whatever the issue is that transpires, if in that moment you could release it, not take it personally, forgive the other, forgive yourself, then there would be no karma. And so if you want to find an end to karma, it is found in forgiveness and forgiving all things at all times to all people. And so anything that you are rehearsing in your mind as an offense is pointing to an area of unforgiveness that is actually creating karma. So this is a key indicator of creating karma, is this an ongoing sense of hurt or offense around an issue. So, for instance, you're, let's say a couple, perhaps the husband leaves his underwear on the bathroom floor. The first time it happens, maybe the wife picks it up and puts it away and feels no offense or no hurt, no disappointment of any sort. It's not a thing. It's an instantly overlooked. This is why it is said in Scripture that to love another is to overlook offenses, overlook them. You see, this is a huge key. And so then let's say perhaps it happens a second time. Perhaps she's mildly irritated a third time. Perhaps she begins to, a fourth or fifth, feel disrespected, you see. Then there is an offense that is developing. Maybe she says something to her husband, maybe she doesn't. Maybe they argue about it. Who knows? But if within her there is an offense that begins to develop and an unforgiveness, you see, and each time it repeats, there is more karma developing around it, like a snowball rolling downhill, you see. And unless it's interrupted by forgiveness, it will continue on gathering momentum and gathering this debris. And so there a subconscious lie somewhere near the beginning of this process subconscious lies will be the debris that are picked up in this snowball as it's rolling downhill. And it might be a lie such as, he doesn't respect me, you see, or he doesn't care about me, or I don't deserve better, or whatever the lies may be. They can be various and sundry and so on, you see.
Okay. So is one way to prevent that, then, if when she starts to notice, I'm starting to get annoyed by this, he keeps doing that she speaks her mind to him, and he says, oh, okay, honey, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was bothering you, I'll stop doing it. Then she can forgive him at that point, and then that doesn't create any karma.
Well, yes, we would say there are many different actions she could take or not take. Whether she takes action or not, what is essential is forgiveness.
Yes.
And it is only for her to forgive.
But it seems like you would have to express your anger before you could move into forgiveness. Is that not true?
Well, we will agree with you that it is best to express emotion and best never to judge emotion. For instance, your wife apologized yesterday for her actions, you see. But in truth, they were real, they were visceral, and she felt them through and through and acted upon her true, authentic feeling, you see. And that is better than the alternative, which is to allow the snowball to continue rolling downhill, picking up debris and gathering momentum and getting larger and larger.
Yes.
And so, unfortunately, in your culture, these, as you would call them, negative emotions, and especially if they are acted out viscerally or physically, are frowned upon. And this is very unfortunate, and it causes, we would say, the vast majority, almost all of the disease in your culture is caused by this not expressing emotion all the way through. And for the few who actually do express their emotion fully, as your wife did yesterday, unfortunately, if they express their emotion fully and in the moment, they likely feel guilty because of cultural conditioning that this is not appropriate behavior, you see.
Yes.
And so that is very unfortunate in our perspective.
Well, I think that I never make her feel guilty about doing that.
We agree, and we appreciate we would consider this to be high service. A high service that is rarely given, we would say. So the short answer for your questions on karma is this: all karma is, and this is pointing to the comment you raised about time. There is no time. So in this way, we can align with where you were nearing a truth here, that is, all karma is addressed in the now. You see, no matter how old, if you want to use that word, no matter how old karma is, it can only be conquered in the now, and it is conquered by forgiveness, you see.
Yes, got it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, for instance, in the issue with the vessel's family member last week, and obviously very hot issue, when she asked us, is this from past life karma with this person? Yes, we said yes, this is past life karma from the soul. And that explains why there's so much intensity around the issue, you see, which is not really, we would say, normal or natural for either the vessel or the family member. Neither of them would tend towards these sort of heated exchanges. So there is past life karma involved. And so the vessel did not bother to inquire as to what or when or how in the past life, as we have taught her. Could we tell her that? Certainly, of course we could. Does it matter? No, not really, because all karma is resolved in the moment. So if she wants to be free of this very unpleasant situation, the path to freedom is to forgive herself fully and forgive the other. And this will eliminate the karma altogether. And as you shared, reminded her to look at the other and to know that the other is you through and through. The other is mirroring back to you your very essence. This is a quick and easy route to forgiveness, you see. And so, for instance, with, let's say, if you're struggling with a young person that has been disrespectful and ungrateful, perhaps take some time to reminisce, to think back, ask your higher self, can you show me a time when someone was particularly benevolent to me, particularly gracious to me, and I didn't adequately thank them? And you will likely have a memory of such a time. And if that person is still living, or even if they are not, you may take some time then to set aside some time to express your gratitude and your thanks to them from your heart. And this also can begin moving the karma. You see?
Yes.
And so it is very, very, very rare, we would say, very, very, very rare that someone hurts you or offends you or does you wrong in some way, that if you really spent some time meditating on it, that you could not think of an instance in which you've done the very same thing to another. This is why the Christ said, you that judge do the same. So what he meant by that is, when someone harms you, when someone assails you and you judge them for having done so, and the judgment, we would say, is born of hurt. So don't either judge yourself too harshly, because when you judge another, it is a natural response, a human response to hurt, we would say. And so when you realize that others hurt you and you're judging them, if you have the awareness, think about what it is they have done. For instance, if they have, let's say, stolen money from you, sit with yourself and think, have I ever stolen anything from anyone? And we can assure you, you're likely going to find one or two or more instances in which you've stolen from someone at some point in your life. And this helps you to move into the place where you see and understand, oh, I see, I'm the same as this person. I'm the same as them. I have done these same things. I have done these things in unawareness. So the easy route is remembering what the Christ said, hanging on the cross in excruciating pain. You see, blinding pain. And he could look and say, Father, forgive them. They are unconscious. Father, forgive them. They don't realize what they're doing. They're unconscious. So, for instance, if you feel that you've been disrespected or there's a lack of gratitude, you can probably safely assume that they don't realize. They feel they have been very grateful. They don't realize that they're acting out of ingratitude, you see.
Okay, so I've always felt like it seems like, maybe not always, for some years now, if I gave something to somebody and they were grateful, I'd want to give them more. Mm-hmm. If they weren't grateful, then I'd stop giving. Mm-hmm. Now, is that off? If I forgive them for not saying anything, but I just don't want to give them anymore.
Well, there's a difference between forgiveness and boundaries.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I want to know.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Okay.
And you can most certainly set boundaries and forgive. And in the setting of boundaries and enforcing boundaries, this shows love for the other, and it puts you in a much better, a more natural state in order to forgive. If, let's say, a young wife is being beaten by her husband, bruises and black and blue and broken bones, it's not a likely starting point for forgiveness, you would agree.
Yes.
And so forgiveness comes much, much later, after she's removed herself from the situation and healed. Mm. And so you must have some reasonable expectation of yourself, you see. It's not likely for you to have grace to forgive when you're being misused, mistreated, accused, and so on. You may have this grace. We hope that you do. As we said, that Christ had it. Even as he was being brutally beaten, he was in a state of forgiveness. Even as the blows and the thorns and the clawing iron ripped open his back, he was completely aligned with forgiveness, even in the doing of the deed. And this is why he is an enlightened being. You see.
Yes.
And so we would say, if you're feeling particularly valiant, if you're feeling particularly conscious and want to be on the offensive in overcoming your karma, if you want to leap over it like a gazelle, we would say, if the other one who is hurting you, if the hurt they are causing, let's say, is from let's say, dishonesty, then you may go on the offensive by being the most honest, the most gentle and honest and direct person you can be with everyone you encounter. Or if the other is being, let's say, ungrateful, then you may go on the offensive in resolving this karma that is presenting itself by being the most grateful person you can possibly be, giving thanks, giving gratitude to everyone around you in as many circumstances as you can, you see.
I think I do that to some degree. I did that today.
Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that I don't have any grudge or anything against the boy.
Yes.
The boy that I brought up. And I will tell him that I forgive him, and I understand. That doesn't bother me. But I still got a few problems with certain people.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think you said something earlier I'm curious about trying to figure out what was underlying the question, and all saying that I keep looking at things on the outside, and why aren't I guess asking questions or investigating the inside?
Well, we were saying that we can speak with you about broad concepts about the cosmos and time and space and karma and so on, but always better to draw the focus back to your inner work. And you know this.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I think I'm aware. I think I can tell when I get off, and I can feel it, and I think I'm aware of what pushes, what gets me still. And I also, I guess, I believe that I will be told by somebody coming through, like Michael did, if there's something that I'm not aware of that I need to be aware of.
Yes.
And I guess I, like with, and so this is a question I was going to ask earlier. So did the soul arrange for that event to happen with the vessel and that other person so that could be healed, that karmic thing could be healed?
Yes, certainly.
So it was arranged on purpose.
Well, we would say that the soul attracted the situation because the accusations that were leveled are accusations that she holds against herself within herself.
Yes.
You see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the level of vehemence and accusation are equal to the level of accusation that she holds against herself within her own soul. In other words, the energies are matched, you see.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so she is currently doing a deep inner work of the soul. Her soul is calling on her at this time to release some things upon the altar of the soul around withdrawing from family, withdrawing from those who hurt, from those who wound, from those who judge. For this has been her a pattern to withdraw from relationships when they become accusatory or smothering or abusive, and to cut people off. Mm-hmm. And so now we're not saying, don't hear what we're not saying. We're not saying that she should not have withdrawn from some of these relationships. However, it's more of just a boundary setting. It is a withdrawal. It is the soul withdrawing in hurt. You see?
Yes.
And so this is a time and a season to see this pattern and to bring it to the altar of the soul.
And is it true that if I just stay aware, of things that get me off, etc., the universe or my soul or whatever will keep putting me in the situation to be able to heal that piece? And if I heal if I heal a karmic thing that I have now, my soul or the universe or whatever will put me in another situation to heal the next piece of karma.
Yes, that is correct.
And so I will keep getting mirrored where I'm stuck.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. And this is why enlightenment is called peace, because in enlightenment, all of these issues have been resolved. And so there is no issue, there is no drama, there is no conflict that knocks the soul off balance or out of alignment. Whatever presents itself does not disturb the soul at all. And this is why enlightenment is called a state of peace. It is the absence of conflict, drama, karma, and so on.
Okay.